Hello friends, how are you? I hope you all are doing well. So these days, because for the summer season, the rainfall is coming very frequently, and many people get drenched because they are going somewhere outside. And today is one among that day. Uh, I always go for the evening walk to the outside, and today suddenly I face that raining, and fortunately I was between the pass on a pass of the bridge, and I can able to save myself to getting drenched. But it was very slightly dark. Yeah, getting the weather is getting dark and furious. So I was so much of furious and very panic at that moment that I had nothing in my mind, and I just wanted to reach somewhere. So I ran, and until I approached one kiosk, I just ran, and after getting there I felt myself safe. Yeah, I ran after so many years maybe, and because for the panic agitation, because for the furious situation. Okay, let's move to our today's topic. Our today's topic is on Anaximander. So he is one among the great Greek philosophers of ancient period. So let's get into his philosophical ideas, what he has depicted, and what was his assumption about the world, about the what was his contribution, and how he can offer that. Okay, Anaximander belonged to Miletus. So the previous scholar Thales was also from the Miletus, and this the ancient Greek scholars mostly from Miletus. So Anaximander, also from Miletus, was a man of daring, venture, of thought. He was cosmologist like Thales, cosmologist like Thales. However, for him the primary matter was boundless something, a formless, infinite, and eternal mass not yet parted into particular kinds of matter. Anaximander appears to have stated that the world is governed by the opposites like hot and cold, wet and dry. According to Anaximander, the world has evolved in due course. At the time, there was water everywhere. On one can easily. So, according to Anaximander, the world has evolved in due course. At one time, there was water everywhere. One can easily see the germ of organic evolution in the speculative adventure of Anaximander. Okay, Anaximander was the thinking of Anaximander was not alike to the Thales, but he thought that world may be not full with water, means water may not contributing the whole sense of the existence as Thales have proclaimed, but he thought that there is some sort of formless, shapeless an energy that infinite, which is infinite, eternal, which is eternal mass not yet parted into particular kinds of matter, which may be some eternal kinds and not parted with any matter. And in positioning boundless mass, the fundamental stuff of which the world is constituted, that indirectly lays down an important principle, namely a formless general principle can account for the particulars. So he has mainly depicted about the formless energy. He is not even mentioned about the energy, but formless something is governed the whole universe. And then afterwards, Anaximander appears to have started that the world is governed by the opposites. So he also said that the world is, there must be some opposite powers. Means because for a day it is night, hot, cold, and wet, dry. So every object, everything, every accessories of our universe is always existed with the two things. There is not one alone, merely not one, but there is always attached with two different things. There is day, so the night. There is disease, so the happiness. So all are the two different things. Two things are always attached. So he is also suggested this particular aspect. He has also highlighted this thing. But these things are always in the part of yogic science or the Indian philosophical aspects. But yes, he is also proclaiming the same thing. According to the Anaximander, the world has evolved in due course. World have evolved in due course. At one time there was water everywhere. So in his attribution, he said that there must have some water content in everywhere in the world. In some point of time there were only water creatures. So firstly there were he suggests that firstly there must be some water creatures. By drying up the water, land appeared and creatures of sea were left on the dry land. Those creatures from the sea which could adapt themselves to the dry land alone have survived. Those creatures from the sea which could adapt themselves to the dry land alone have survived. So those who could fit in the situation of both water and the land, they could only earn that characteristics or earn that adaptability to become sustained in this world. So in due course of time they have acquired in this kind of particular things. One can easily see the germ of organic evolution in the speculative adventure of Anaximander. So yeah, it is always there in the Indian philosophies that we have told from our childhood days that there are 10 avatars of Vishnu, and the first came from the water. So it is like tortoise, fish. Then afterwards the entities or that kind of species are coming from mingling with the land and evolve to the our Homo sapiens. Like there was Ram Avatar, there was Parshuram Avatar. So that kind of things were always mentioned in our Hindu doctrines or the Eastern philosophies. So Anaximander held that the earth is cylindrical in shape and moves freely in space. This positioning of the earth moving freely in the space is once again a foreshadow of theory of gravitation. So he is also assumed that he also claim that earth is cylindrical in shape, but it moves freely in the space. So there may be some shadow which is afterwards scientists have adopted as a initial step for the gravitation law. Okay, these are about the Anaximander. So Anaximanders, if we encapsulate these things, then we can say firstly he very firmly viewed about the universe is ruled by some non-sapical and some kind of force which we cannot identify or which we cannot see by our bare eyes. And secondly, he is saying about the two things, world is always attached with these two things, because for the day the night can be evolved, night can be there, night can exist, because for disease there can possibility of free diseaseless or happiness because for day there is possibility of night. So he always says that there is always two things attached in this universe or world. Then thirdly, he said that in due course of time there must be some watery bodies or watery entities in water, and then after due course of time the water bodies water means species or water entities came to the land and mingle with that environment, adopt that environment and became inhabitant of land. And fourthly, he proclaimed that art may be freely move in the universe. So it can be the initial step for gravitational law. Okay, thank you very much.